Hello, everybody. My name is Colespace, and you are back for another episode of Colespace XP, the podcast. This is, I think, our 7th episode, probably. 7th episode of the podcast. I kind of want it to be about something that has happened to me recently, and I wanted to share that with all of you. I want it to be about... It's going to be it's a change up. I had something else planned for it, but I want to do this with it. And I don't know how long it'll be. I'll talk as long as I can think about it. But gaming with one arm. That's what this episode's going to be about. And if you are in my shoes, in my situation, and you have a broken arm or you can only use one hand, I kind of want to let you know how you can work around that as best as you can. That's what it's going to be about today. And it's also going to be about how, maybe a little bit of how gaming is more accessible nowadays. We can do more in the world of gaming. So when I broke my arm skateboarding. I was out skateboarding on the road and turned too sharp. And guess what? Broke it. Broke this one right here. It's out of the sling now. It was in the sling for a while. It's still broken, but it's healing. It's getting closer and closer to being fully healed. But I want to tell you about my journey. About my journey through this process. Through how I had to adapt. I know I'm a content creator and I do podcasts. And I do videos. I mostly do YouTube. But I had to adjust. And we're going to talk specifically about how I had to adjust in the world of gaming. So, and this is just my personal experience. I just want to get that off my chest. And I thought it would be a good podcast episode, a very unique one, original one. I have a bunch of other ideas lined up, but you know what? This is the one that was calling to me. It's perfect on the timing as well. So, when I broke my arm, I could not use it whatsoever. Could not play certain games. At first, I felt defeated. I did. I felt defeated because gaming is a hobby of mine that I really like to do. And gaming to me is really fun. It's stress relieving. It's relaxing. It's something that I do a lot. And it's something that I want to share with the world because I love it so much. Couldn't do it at first, and I felt like I couldn't do it whatsoever. And I thought it was going to be a while before I could game again. But then I started thinking, is there ways that I can make content with one arm? Now, editing, I'm not going to get too much into the editing, but editing with one arm is challenging. Woo, good Lord. That was hard. Okay, that was just hard. Because I make the videos and try to edit them. But gaming-wise, I wanted to share with you some of the games that I played that were possible with one arm. Point-and-click games. Point-and-click games were the very first thing that came to my mind when all this happened in my life. And I know people have it worse off than me. I'm not trying to make myself sound like something terrible happened to me. I just broke my arm while I was skateboarding. So I know that this is going to heal. It's moving even better now, and I can use a controller. Most of the time I can use the mouse and keyboard. It does get a little sore, but I'm moving it and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's okay. It's getting there. It's still technically broken, but it's getting there. Like, it's not like I can sleep more comfortably now too. But yeah, the main thing, point and click came to mind because you just use a mouse and you point and click. Simple, right? Simple enough. Nothing too crazy about it. And this is my dominant hand that I broke. So I had to learn how to use my non-dominant hand to game. And let me tell you, that's challenging, but it did make my left hand more coordinated, which is something I think gaming is really good at actually helping people develop, is their coordination. I feel like I have really good hands. and I can catch and do a lot of things with my hands. So that's partly because of gaming. Personally, I think. Also, like point and click games are a great option if you only do have one arm, because I know other people have different situations, and gaming has tried to make it more accessible over the years. I know that they've made leaps and bounds from where they started to make games more accessible for people who, even are quadriplegic or paralyzed in some sort of way. Like, these are all great things to have, generally speaking, for the gaming community. So I found a wide variety of games that I could play. I couldn't play like the games that I traditionally usually play, like the scary ones, because jolting would be kind of problematic. But now I can mostly. I can't do any quick movements though, so I try to stick with games that won't make me jump back in fear for now. But point and click was a lot of fun. I feel like I've played some point and click games that were challenging, point and click games that were easy. I don't know if you can classify these as games. I kind of classify it as games because I feel like there's aspects of it sometimes that are games. But like visual novel games where you play through a story, you are like interacting with all the characters and stuff, but you are playing through kind of a novel, like a book. And they have them on Steam, on PC all the time, like visual novel games where you just kind of click and you just read the story, and it's like a whole visual story, but it's a game. Those are a great option if if you can't play with two hands. I played with them like that. That was a lot of fun. I think also point and click visual novels, they're all really good. I learned also mobile games, some of them, not all of them. Now, some of them you have to do the, like this, but if you have a portrait style, because landscape styles, but if you have a portrait style, it's okay. Like, you can play certain games on mobile, and also, and this will relate to the previous podcast episode, clickers only need one hand. That's it. So I could have played clickers. Also, this really shows the importance of like idle games for gamers. Like, in my opinion, going through this experience, it's like idle games are fun because I just kind of watch over it and click this and that a little bit, but I still get to feel like I'm gaming, even though I can't really do everything. So I see the importance now going through this broken arm thing, where I don't have one arm. I have one arm when I'm using, and the other one was in a sling. That was really important. Like, those kinds of games, I see why they're in the world and see why they are fun. Because when you can't do anything and you just want to relax, but you want to play a game, you want to progress in something, because progression in games, it's just so satisfying. Those games are really important. So I think wholeheartedly that point and click games, visual novel games, the idle games, they were really crucial. And when I started to feel better, I started to move I was starting to heal, per se. I got to a point where I could kind of use my hand. And it was like they wanted me to start moving it. Like, when I say they, I mean like my medical, like people that are helping me heal, like doctors. They wanted me to move it more. So gaming helped with that. Like, when you're healing with an injury like that, as long as it doesn't hurt, as long as you're not restricted to do that, you should definitely, try to use a controller. It made my thumb feel better. Oh, are you seeing? I dropped my phone. That's going to be in the podcast episode. All right. So, like, just overall, like, being able to start getting back to a point where I can move my hand and hold a controller, like, that was so exciting. Honestly, that was so exciting. Games like, now I'm currently, this will date the episode, but I'm currently working on Five Nights at Freddy's for the YouTube channel, and I had to stop, and I still haven't gotten back to Five Nights at Freddy's 4 because I couldn't. Like, I just couldn't, because if you've ever played Five Nights at Freddy's, you know what you're in for. You know you're not going to be able to be slow for the most part. You got to be kind of quick with it when you're playing that. So, yeah. I think accessibility in gaming is just so important. I think I probably could have done VR. VR, I could have, but I just don't have a VR headset, which I eventually want to have a VR headset for the channel. If you don't just watch the podcast and you watch the channel, that's, I do a lot of gaming videos. I want to do some VR games too. I found games I usually wouldn't find when I was hurt with my arm. And I think that goes in part with in situations in life, you find games. If you're a gamer and you just play games in your casual time, you find games throughout your life that kind of fit in your lifestyle, right? Like, for instance, when I was younger, I would play NBA. When I was growing up, I was a teenager, played a lot of NBA. I loved playing basketball, and I wanted to learn more about basketball, so I played basketball simulation type games, just to maybe try plays, see it, visualize it. And you can actually, I feel like you can partially grow in that way. Now, you can't physically grow, but mentally you can kind of understand it. You see it from a different type of view, and you actually can see what's going on, how things are happening in that sort of sense. I mean, I don't think it's the best way to do it is to go do the thing, but also in gaming, that's a thing. And I think in large part that fits my lifestyle at that point in time. Is that when I had a broken arm, I couldn't play what I usually played, but it opened me up to new experiences, which is the beauty of it. So as long as you're open-minded and you can try new games, because I used to be the type of gamer where I wanted to play my games, and that was it. I just wanted to play these set games. I didn't want to play anything else. This is all I'm playing. I don't want to do anything else. But then I realized when I did that if anything didn't fit with that game, it stressed me out. And I didn't like that. I'm the type of gamer that I want the games to make sense why I'm playing them and to kind of enjoy it. Whether it be to beat the game because it's fun, whether it be to be accessible, like I was talking about in this episode with my one arm ability. All of these things are things that go into what we choose to play. Whether we like violent games, whether we like cozy games. Cozy games I feel like have recently exploded. There's cozy games everywhere. And they are in fact cozy. They do give you a sense of comfort most of the time. And they are usually, some of them are hard, but some of them are easy. And it just depends on the skill level. But cozy games have blown up. I feel like they've gotten more and more popular, and it's because people find comfort in gaming. When like Stardew Valley, that's a huge cozy game. That's a game that a lot of people love. A lot of people love Minecraft. Minecraft can be almost anything, but it is in fact cozy sometimes. The music and everything too. Another thing that I think is important to talk about in this episode specifically, stuttering. In this episode specifically, I would like to talk about how button mapping is so important in video games. I think that's a feature that should be in almost every game. If you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, button mapping is the process in the settings of a game where you can choose which button gives which command in the game. So if I want to jump and I don't want to use A, let's say I just for some reason want to use Y. Button mapping, I go into the settings and I click on jump as a command, right? And then I will switch that to Y, which is it's a simple process for most games. But whenever they have button mapping, it's very simple and straightforward, I feel like, to change your controls. But I think that is so important in accessibility of gaming. Like just being able to map your buttons out, it's amazing. It's really amazing. It helps with somebody who does have, and this is only a temporary thing for me, but I have one very, very good arm that can do everything. It's not injured. And I had one bad arm. So button mapping was a very important thing too. I think that's kind of a unsung hero of gaming accessibility is button mapping. Like that is so important as well, because then I can change. If it's a game that doesn't have a lot of now, if it has a lot of controls, I didn't try to play it. But if it's a game that it's got like 3 or 4 buttons, I can condense all those into one area and just learn to play it that way. So that's really important. Button mapping, so important when you have one arm. And this is just my personal experience with having a broken arm and trying to game. And I thought it would be special and unique to share that on the podcast for an episode. And I want to know after we get done with this episode, feel free to either comment in the YouTube section or in the Spotify comments and let me know what you all think. Maybe how you have to game. I would love to hear stories about if somebody has to game a certain way, in like a different kind of way, not the traditional way. Maybe they had a finger that got hurt and they couldn't, press the buttons correctly. I want to hear all those stories. That's what this podcast is about, is to start, to have a gaming community where we can talk about all of these topics that I talk about in these videos. So feel free to comment in the Spotify or YouTube section about your experience with accessibility and how gaming, maybe you found something because you got hurt and you loved it. People find games that they love when they get put in a situation that's not normal. Let's say, for instance, you always play Call of Duty, which is a very, very I need 2 hands kind of game most of the time. But lately, if you've seen people game online, they've made those types of games very accessible, even to people who can only use their chin to play games. For people who don't have, the use of their arms and legs, they have made it possible to where I've seen this on live streams. I don't know much about it, but they have made it possible to where you can use their mouth for an analog, I think, and they use their chin to press buttons in their face. So they've made it to the point where it's so accessible that they can play games like that if they want to. If they choose to learn that way, amazing things that can be done in the world of gaming. And eventually I think it's just going to keep growing and becoming more and more accessible. It seems like it is already. Like the fact that we can play games with a lot of different types of controls, a lot of different types of button mapping and all this stuff. Like we have so much power to how we can adjust our games to our needs. That's so important and that's so empowering to us as gamers, because people who have these situations where their arm is hurt or their hand is hurt or something is permanently hurt on them, they want to have those experiences too. That's so important that we give people their experiences and give them a chance to. So I hope as time goes on we can just keep making games more accessible to where it does not matter what's going on in your life. You can still enjoy and have a great time playing games. But yeah, if for now's sake, if you guys do, if you have a situation where your hand's hurt, you can't use one. If you're in my boat where you have only one hand that really, really does get this one's injured right now, but it's getting better. I can mostly play everything now, but there is still a couple limitations. But I would recommend, from my personal experience, point and click games are great for one hand. You can do clickers, you can do idols, you can do hidden object games. You could do so since this podcast isn't just about video games, it's about board games too, and just games in general, party games and all that stuff. Board games are right there up there with it. Board games are amazing. You really only need, most of the time in board games, unless it's like one of those really interactive board games, you only need one hand because you roll the dice, right, and you move the pieces. Traditional games, I don't know how many games. There's probably games out there where you need two hands, interactive games, maybe physical games. But board games are a great solution too. I can play chess all day. I could play chess literally with my left hand all day. Not competitive chess. I'm not like trying to be like the next chess grandmaster, but I can just play chess and have fun with it. So when my hands started healing, I tried to play games that did require two hands, which I slowly have been able to. Still not full gaming ability yet, but it's just something that I'm working through, and it's been a lot of fun to see what I can discover in that time. And I do remember when I started, when I got hurt, and I was like, oh, how am I? This is how I know I really love what I do on this YouTube channel, on Spotify, and like this podcast. I love everything about this podcast. Let me just make that clear. I love everything about my gaming channel, my Colespace channel, and just what I do. So I know I love it because one of my very first thoughts are, how am I going to make my gaming videos, my Let's Play gaming videos? Because that's the main thing that I do. And I knew I could do podcast episodes because this is what I do. I talk the whole time during podcast episodes. So I knew that this was going to be okay. I knew that you guys weren't going to hurt from it. And yeah, it's like, this is something that I really like doing too, this podcast episode stuff. I want to get back into doing episodes more often. I think I might scale up to just 2 episodes a month. We'll see on that. If you guys really like the Colespace XP podcast on Spotify and like on YouTube, and you keep showing me that you guys want to see these podcast episodes, I got so many. I got like 4 pages of episode ideas. I really want to get into this podcast stuff. I really like it. I feel like I'm going to take it a long way and do a lot with it. So this is where we start on the Colespace XP journey. For now, it's going to be 1 episode a month. And from there, who knows? I mean, I want to do probably 2 episodes a month here in the next couple of months because I like the feeling of 2 episodes. I don't know about 4 episodes a month. That would be if everybody was really enjoying it, I would just keep doing it every week, once a week. And if it was just taken off to the point where everybody just wanted to see Colespace XP, I would probably make a whole YouTube channel for it, and I would probably also like have it twice a week. But that's if it gets to the point where you guys just can't get enough of this. If you can't get enough of my voice, then I will do that. I am not shy to give my voice away and talk to you guys and talk to you about gaming and all the things I'm passionate about, because I think there's a lot of cool things we could do on this podcast. Gaming for me will always be an important part of my life. No matter what I do, no matter what I've been through in my personal life, gaming has been there. And maybe not always as much as I would like, maybe too much sometimes, if I'm being completely transparent with everybody here. But when I found the balance, when I find that sweet spot where I am enjoying my gaming and having the life around me that I want, there's no better feeling. There really isn't. When gaming and your family and your loved ones also support your dreams, like there is nowhere better than that. And I know that. I know that this is something that's a gift. It's not a right. This is a privilege. I get to do this and get on and say these things. So that's why I just hold it in high regard, because I want to show you guys my passion for all these things, all this, knowledge that I've learned and knowledge that I want to learn. All this stuff. It takes time, but I see the seeds that I'm planting now, and I see how it's growing, and I know that I'm doing what I love. Every time I get on this podcast and talk, and every time that I literally, do a gaming video or just a video in general, I know I'm doing what I love. But I know that was a little off topic from today's title, but I just wanted to say that because this podcast is about gaming, and it's Colespace XP, so it's a little about me too, but it's focused on gaming, I would say. But it's just my personal experience with accessibility in gaming, how I handled it, how I plan to do it in the future is, always be open to those games that are different. Like, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I've grown and learned from when I did this was gaming with a broken hand. It's possible. Broken arm, my bad. Gaming with a broken arm, it's possible. You just have to be open-minded to it, and you just have to be willing to actually try these new things, and you might find yourself having a little bit of fun. So with that, I think we're going to end the podcast episode. I think that's about all I have to say about gaming with one arm and how that went for me. And I feel like that's a really good podcast episode, and that's a good stopping point. And with that, everybody, Colespace XP is coming your way. I'm sending it. I'm going to get this outro right at some point. I'm just going to leave all this in just for you to laugh and chuckle at my Colespace XP is coming your way. You got your XP for today. Wait, what is it? Okay. You got your XP for today. Colespace XP. Hold on. Okay. You got your XP today. Colespace XP coming your way. And I'll see you all another day. Bye, everyone.